More than $4.5 trillion has been wiped off the value of US stocks the day after President Donald Trump unveiled sweeping tariffs. Investors around the world have been rattled by the new trade policy, which has triggered recession warnings for the world's largest economy.
We've never seen anything like it. The markets are going to boom, the stock is going to boom, the country is going to boom, and the rest of the world wants to see, is there any way they can make a deal?
President Trump wasn't showing any concern over his new strategy as he left the White House for Florida. He's declared the country is healing after imposing duties ranging from 10% to 49% on almost all imports. It takes the average tariff rate of all imports to the US from 2.5% last year to close to 19%, the highest since 1933.
The tariff announcement ended up being more extreme than most investors had anticipated. And because of it being extreme, investors are now worried about what the reciprocal tariffs will end up being, with the retaliatory tariffs by our trading partners, how long these tariffs will be in effect, because the longer they are, the deeper this market is likely to decline.
A baseline 10% tariff will apply on all imports coming into the US, including from Australia, along with other countries such as the United Kingdom, Singapore and Brazil. A new 34% duty has been slapped on China, and taking into account existing tariffs, that rises to 54% on imported Chinese goods. Japan and South Korea have also been hit with penalties of 25%. The Trump administration insists it's targeting unfair measures.
Stop picking on us. Stop saying that we can't sell our corn to India. Stop saying that we can't sell our beef anywhere. Just stop treating us so poorly. If we are the great consumer of the earth, the United States buys everybody's products. We buy everybody's goods. You just have to treat us fairly.
The new tariffs will be paid by American importers, and that charge will almost certainly be passed on to consumers. Here's a hypothetical example. Before the tariffs, a US business paid $20 for a product it had purchased from an Australian-based company. Let's say a particular brand of sunglasses. That business marks them up and sells them for $100 on the American market. Now let's take into account the new duties. That's the extra tax that a business or importer will have to pay to the US government to bring the same glasses into the US to sell. Because Australia is subject to a minimum 10% baseline tariff, the American company would have to pay $2 more for that brand of sunglasses. The business is unlikely to absorb that extra cost, as it'll affect its bottom line. So it would add that to the retail cost, and a buyer would pay at least $102 retail for the Aussie-made sunglasses.
Right here I have solder paste. This is made by a company called Mechanic from China.
In Philadelphia, this computer and phone repairer ships in many products and components for his business from overseas. He understands Donald Trump's desire to boost homegrown production instead of importing goods. But ultimately, he says his customers will be paying more.
We can create more jobs in America, but how many jobs you can create compared to how many people are gonna pay more to get what they need, to get their computer or cell phone fixed, to get a new computer, to get a new cell phone, they gotta pay extra. I don't think that's a good idea in my opinion, but I don't know what's gonna happen in the future. I hope for the best, but for now, it doesn't look good and it's hurting the customer.
From wine to clothing and shoes, the Nonpartisan Tax Foundation estimates the newly announced tariffs will raise $2.8 trillion in revenue in the US over the next decade, but shrink its GDP by 0.5% in that time. It estimates the average American household will be $3,300 worse off each year. And while stocks are down on Wall Street, it's the rising costs on the minds of most people in the United States.
The whole reason he was elected was he was going to be bringing prices down. So he's doing the opposite.
I think we're all concerned about prices right now.
I think it's a noble goal, but it feels like there's a lot of pain in between here and then.